10% of all the new cars sold in Iowa come from the Carl Auto Group. Our neighbors trust us to have the largest selection and the highest standards. To our current customers, thank you. And to our future customers, see for yourself why Carl drives Iowa.
Your dealer for life, it's the Carl way. I'm Chris Williams from Cyclone Fanatic, a proud Iowa State graduate from the class of 2007. No one shows up like Iowa State fans. And Cyclones support Cyclones on and off the field. Your gift can provide scholarships to students, fund groundbreaking research. We could even drum up opportunities for the marching band. Visit MoveWhatMatters.com to learn how you can make an impact today.
Chris Williams, Brent Blum, from the Wild Rose Casino Studio. It's Williams and Blum, presented by Mechdyne, on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network.
What is up? Welcome to the Wednesday show, Williams and Blum. We are recording a little later than normal on your Wednesday. We are presented, as always, by Mechdyne. Blum's a very important man.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. I felt dirty. I was at Drake today. I like Drake, though. I went and saw my guy Hendo. Love me some Eric Henderson. He's an Iowa Stater to the bone.
I am happy.
He won't admit it now, but I'm going to call him that forever.
Well, he was a GA under McDermott.
He was. A lot of good memories with it.
Yeah.
He is very well liked up in Ames. Everybody's rooting for him.
I think we all can agree that of the other in-state institutions, I shouldn't say that. I like Drake. I'll just put it that way.
It was cool to see Hendo running the show.
I think Harden, by the way, I think Brian Harden does an incredible job.
I love Brian Harden.
What he has to deal with.
I did not actually feel dirty stepping into Drake. The time I interviewed Caitlin Clark and went to Carver Hawkeye, I felt a little dirty.
I'm getting more and more my old age, C-Dub. It's like, celebrate the good people you have in this state.
Absolutely.
And
we got two of them in Drake,
a couple
with Harden and
Drake there. Yeah.
Hendo. They got a cool, Meyer there. They got a lot of nice people.
Yeah, they've done an awesome job in the last 12 years at that place. And then, honestly, the Drake Relays and State Track, two of the cooler events that I go to on an annual basis. I'm
going to be there at a couple of the Williams niece and nephew.
Okay. Did they get your genes?
Well, they clearly got the athleticism from somewhere. You know what's really funny is Iowa State tie here is my best friend in the whole wide world, other than you, Brent.
Thank you.
Adam Carper, played football at Iowa State before he had a bad injury, and he has every record in Clarinda for track and stuff, and my nephew keeps breaking his records. And every time he does, I'll just text him and be like, "Yeah, my genes are kicking your ass,
old man Carper."
Yeah. Okay, so today's show, Blum and I are both over the NIL business discussion. We are going to talk sports today.
There's still stuff happening, and it's
it's not anything we talk about today is just rehashing anything else.
But thank you. Honestly, the feedback from Sunday's kind of heavy show, honestly, it was kind of heavy, was really good. And appreciate everybody for reaching out and giving their 2 cents. And I think it was very, what's the word I want to use? Very thoughtful and helpful for a lot of folks to kind of see, okay, what are the next steps here for Iowa State?
And it was heavy on our end because we care so much.
Yeah, that's it.
That's why, we are so we're not going anywhere.
If Iowa State was in the Mountain West from the missile crisis, we'd still be here doing right. So that's why it's heavy. It's why we care so much, and I know all of our listeners do too.
Yeah, for sure.
And
so
thank
you for entertaining that heavy episode, and I promise more fun things to come.
We are presented, as always, by our friends at Mechdyne. Pour yourself a bottle, I wouldn't recommend drinking a whole bottle of Cody Road tonight. Well, you can if you want. You're ready for a good time. I have some mailbag questions left over from last week that I haven't even gone through. So we'll go through those. We will talk a little bit of spring football as well. Presented by our friends at A+ Lawn and Landscape. One really quick thing, and this isn't. I just think this is an interesting. Did you see what Urban Meyer said today about the Tennessee quarterback situation?
No, I did not. I've been
just to follow up on Sunday's show. Urban Meyer. I read the headline and I'm like, that's a ridiculous headline. And then I read his full context. I'm like, son of a gun is right. He was talking about Tennessee's quarterback situation. He goes, yeah, everybody can applaud cutting the kid now, but what happens if you lose to Florida in September because you don't have an experienced quarterback? And I thought it put into context just how hard these coaches' jobs are. Because everybody's like, oh, yeah, stick it to him and his agent. Yeah, nobody's going to care if you're 1-2.
Yeah, lose to Ole Miss on that. Yeah, that's the hard part is everybody here is doing what they think is best. Athletes included, but he's right. They start losing some games. Those 120,000 people at Tennessee aren't going to be like, oh, no, hey, good way to take the moral high ground.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, wow, that's a really insightful comment by Urban Meyer. That's really good stuff. All right.
Yeah, it sounds like, by the way, with him, UCLA is the front runner.
Okay. Here we go. I put our premium subscribers, said, hey, give us some mailbag questions. This was a week ago. I didn't get through all of them. So let's go through them. How about that?
I love it.
First of all, The Run. That's a good name. Are Blum and Cyclone Larry the same person?
It's my favorite running conspiracy on the internet. And the short answer is no. That would be a legendary effort on my end. Quite honestly, I don't think I could pull it off. But truthfully, I know who Larry is.
I think Aiden does too.
I think Aiden knows who Larry is. I have been in communication with Larry because he has been a huge help, honestly, for not only the Ames Logger release, but also Larry. I swear to God, Larry, I hope you're listening to this because you're Larry. We had a little Larry campaign in August where Larry wasn't going to come back until we got X number of new members for the We Will Collective.
It was really smart, by the way. I don't want to give you too much credit.
Thank you. But Larry raised $180,000 for the We Will Collective. So again,
that's like a backup D lineman.
Actually, that's a starting D lineman. But yeah, well, it depends.
Not a very good one.
But so Larry,
tell Ohio State that.
Okay. Larry, now that again, if that was me posing a Cyclone Larry, even more legendary performance by me, but it wasn't me.
That ain't you. You're not that funny.
I know Larry. I don't know Larry. I know who Larry is, and Larry's been great, and I'm a big Larry fan.
I've told you guys, and you wouldn't tell me if I asked. I don't want to know who he is because it will just ruin it. It doesn't matter who it is.
It doesn't.
I want the mystery surrounding it. If I knew who it was, it would totally ruin everything.
And Larry's off the grid until Dublin now.
Best luck, Cy. How are football season ticket sales going? Can we reach a new high water mark with the success we had last year? Or are things more stagnant because of increased prices and people's fear of the current economic climate? I don't have an answer to this. Maybe you do. Mm-hmm. My guess it would be the latter.
Actually, sales are trending on about the same pace as last year.
Okay.
Which is a great sign. And there's a couple reasons why. Quite honestly, having the Cyhawk game in Ames is a big benefit for Iowa State. And on that year, Iowa State's traditionally the season tickets are better, and it's not just because all the Iowa fans buy it, and they really don't. It's companies now want to purchase these so they can have that game. The economic value of that game alone is massive, just completely massive for multiple reasons. But from what I understand, which is great. This is great, and thank you everybody, by the way. The donation increase, the ticket sales increase, it hasn't negatively impacted sales yet. And the other part of that, which is also encouraging, and good kudos to Cyclone Nation and all of you, the Ireland tickets have been going like crazy. I mean, Iowa State is going to have a massive number of people in Ireland, which is a credit to, again, the Cyclone fan base for always responding and traveling and all that good stuff. But yeah, in regards to tickets, I don't think it's going to set records because, I mean, that's really hard to do with the current climate, but I don't think it's going to drop off either.
Okay. I hadn't heard anything, so that's awesome. I mean, I understand all sides of that. It is tough on some people right now, and people are scared, but you also, like we talked about at the end of last year, like, you know, if you're a 55-year-old fan or you've gone through so many bad years to have Big 12 championship contender teams. And I'll issue the challenge here. I'll put on my fundraiser hat, even though it's not my job. And I hound our big donors every chance I can with this. Even if you own season tickets and you're one of those companies that's not going to go to every game, give them to people.
Yeah, find a way to get people there.
Find a way to get the non-donors engaged. That is how Iowa State grows. And I know there's so much right now. It's how do we survive right now and all, across all of college athletics. But I'm looking 20 years into the future, and the entry-level position could be a CEO in 10 years who's an Iowa Stater. And it's critical to, I don't ever want to be in a spot where Iowa State's 7-2 in that Cincinnati game last year, and the crowd was like it was. That was a bad crowd. I don't criticize Iowa State fans very often. That was a bad crowd, all things considered. And I know, tired of the night games. I understand all.
You were coming off 2 losses, and
I get it all.
There was some.
I get it all. But that was like a mid-tier McCarney level crowd, is how I would describe that thing. And but my point is, if you don't want to go to the games, then just give your ticket away.
Yeah.
If you can't sell it, and there's people who will go, we just got to engage those people.
And I think the home schedule is really good, by the way. I mean, you get some fun games in there. Obviously, Iowa will be a barn burner. BYU, Arizona State. You get both Arizona schools in
great
here.
Crowd. Great.
Kansas game on November 22nd will mean a lot. I think Kansas is going to be pretty good.
That's a tough schedule.
Yeah, and then there's some tricky games in there too. I think we talked about it the other day. I see it's over under was 7.5. I think that's pretty close. I think this Iowa State team is going to be good again though. I do too. That's the encouraging part. Portal did open today. Okay, so let me address this. Not anticipated anything crazy. Okay. Now, you can always help the cause to make sure it doesn't happen, but
WeWillCollective.com.
Yeah, thank you. Not anticipating anything crazy. So, again, Iowa State's going to have a pretty, going to have a lot of good experience back. And they dealt with so many injuries last year that you've addressed before, but I think it's hard for the common fan to comprehend just how down the linebackers were, and even having some health there, having some more health at the safety position. Some of those guys have had awesome spring camps, and I think this team will be picked in the definitely in the upper half of the Big 12 when it comes out. I would say probably. I mean, you finished second last year, tied for second. You've tied for first. Really.
It is amazing to me that they did that with the injuries that they had. Honestly, it really is incredible to me.
So the question is going to be, how do you replace Higgins and Knoll? And that's really hard to do. Townsend's been really good. Sol's been really good since he came back. Some of those young receivers are really coming on. So, yeah, I'm excited for this group. And I would say, if you can, I know the economy's tough right now, but even just showing up for as many games as you can, helps. It helps one way or another.
Thank a couple of our great sponsors, and we'll get to more of your questions here. Mailbag episode, Williams and Blum Wednesday, presented as always by our friends at Kelderman Manufacturing. We saw Kelderman. He came over by Bondurant on Sunday to watch a little Masters with us. It was great to see Jeff. Thanks for all of your support of Cyclone Fanatic over the years. Kelderman.com. Also, our friends at Gravitate Co-working. Getting to be that time of year where you want to be outside walking around. I would encourage you to go to gravitatecoworking.com. If you're one of those people who work from home, I was in a Zoom call earlier today and I realized how many of these people are just working from home all the time. And they've got everything there from like you can sit at the table, you can rent your own office, you can have a mailbox, you can have anything. Gravitatecoworking.com.
And the most important part of an office that is coffee. You have coffee.
Yeah.
And they make it, and you don't have to make it. And
Bada boom.
And goodness knows that people know I don't like doing daily chores around the house, including making
awful.
coffee. So yeah, terrible.
God, it's going to be that horrible time of year where you have to mow your own lawn.
You know anybody?
I know your wife will probably be doing it. HopewoodJD.com. You can get your will done in a day from a Cyclone Fanatic. Like Hope, she's fantastic. She told me last I talked to her, a couple other people signed up here in the last couple of weeks. HopewoodJD.com. Get that will done in a day. All right, let's roll back and pull up the old mailbag from the Cyclone Fanatic Premium Forum. Give me a second. This is really bad podcasting.
Can I give you another name that's been good in camp?
Yeah, I'd love that. I'm ready, though. You go ahead.
Offense.
Yeah.
My guy, Brett Eskelson.
I heard he was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like him a lot.
I'm working on a premium deal for on standouts, and that was mentioned to me that he's been fantastic.
Yeah, and he's a neat young man, neat family. Excited for Brett. I think you're going to really enjoy seeing him more on the field more this year.
Never forget that catch he made last year. Whatever game it was, and it was like, wait a minute, who's that?
Who's that?
And then
and then we
because they kind of just snuck him out there.
Yeah, and then I ran into his dad in Salt Lake for the Utah game, and I got the correct pronunciation. I think
Eskelson.
Eskelson. I'm sorry,
Skilson.
Brett. I need to get back on the horse.
His dad got me. He grabbed me somewhere and told me it was down in Dallas. I believe.
It was down in Dallas. Yeah, we saw him at the Texas Live.
What a hell of an event that was. Looking back, what a fun night that was.
You know what? We're finally out of season mode now, and that was still in the middle of everything. I was like, man, we were just bang, 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 bang. But what a year! I mean, that had a lot of stuff in it.
Fun year.
It had a lot of stuff.
Between the football and basketball injuries, it just felt like it never stopped.
It was dramatic.
Like, oh, who's out now?
I was always saying, I always follow the NBA because it's a soap opera. Well, we felt that in Ames this season.
Well, I like this one. Harry Clone. It's spelled Harry. So I think his name is Harry. I don't think he's like physically Harry.
Hey, it could be.
Perhaps Harry is Harry.
Yeah.
I love this question. If you could go back in time and be a fly on the wall for any story or rumor you've heard, what's your pick? Mangino's blow up. Which one? Because I've heard of multiple types of blow ups from Mark Mangino, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So you have that, the UAB halftime, football's 3-3-5 switch, etc. Well, let me tell you this. The book that will be coming out in November.
We got a date.
There is an in-depth chapter on the 3-3-5 switch. I wasn't in the room, but I feel like I was after all the interviews I've done about what I believe is one of the watershed moments in all of modern day college football, not just Iowa State. So, yeah, I would love to have been there, but I already feel like I have for that one. So a little free pub for
that being in the building for Mangino would have been fascinating. It basically is like Survivor meets Big Brother / Mangino style.
I don't ever feel like Rhoads and Mangino even liked each other.
No.
I felt like looking back at that now with some perspective, I feel like Mangino probably went into that situation. I'm smarter than you. I'm a better coach than you. I don't want to listen to you.
Mark has been a very accomplished coach, more accomplished than I will ever be. So I say this somewhat with respect, and this is why he was a good coach. Mark Mangino thought he was always the smartest person in the room, and that was part of his problem.
He couldn't have gone out any worse.
No. Under the radar thing that I would have loved to be in the room for, and it's not really a controversy, but it kind of was. when the Iowa State administration found out that the Iowa marching band accused them of unspecified crimes on the way out of that football game in 2019. Remember that press conference? It was one of the better Jamie Pollard press conferences, where he basically said to the Iowa administration, like, what the hell are you talking about? And they had the police chief there.
They had the like video.
They had the video there. It's like, you didn't go out the right exit. This is your problem. I mean, that was another one of those stories where it's like, how there was almost very little backlash for just the false accusations, which was super damaging at the time, and it wasn't true. Anyway,
what I remember about that was just even you're right on that press conference, but even in the background, how pissed off everybody, like they were really mad.
Well, they should be.
Like, they were really mad about this. This wasn't like, oh, we're upset we lost a game. It was like, you are like accusing us of really bad stuff,
like
here.
An assault. They accused of assault, and this was all the same week. It was one of the crazier weeks. The same week was the Carson King Bush Light situation, and that thing got really weird there after a while. So anyway.
That thing, thank God that happened though.
Carson's
it took all the tension off the game.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because then that game was the one where the guys ran into each other. And
you want to talk about all-time press conferences though? Paul Rhoads after Mangino got fired. One of the best videos on the CFU too. Made a lot of changes today.
Pull that up. Let's play it. Also, Aiden, do a little production work here. Because I know it's on there. It's one of our most viewed. The Paul Rhoads, Alan Lazard signing day press conference.
Oh, another good one.
He's holding up the
letter of intent.
Look at here. Ah. Hey, I talked to Coach Rhoads last week. He's doing great.
I heard he's doing great. One other Paul Rhoads had some great press conferences. The post-Texas game. That's hard to express.
And then when Pollard. Oklahoma State, Pollard was
year before.
pissed about the officiating, and Rhoads was like, I bet you all wish you had a boss like that.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
I think it was the same year.
I love Rhoads, man.
It was great.
Rhoads is going to go down in the next 20 years is the fine bottle of wine. He's just going to, the age of that guy is like how people view his era would just keep getting better because his personality is so electric.
He was the perfect person for that bridge between Chizik and then Campbell, ultimately. I mean, some really fun times in there. It was very Iowa State. I thought Iowa State, Iowa State grew up into being a high-end athletic department with Paul Rhoads.
Felt like the Lazard signing was like a huge step in that.
Well, and then that, I mean, honestly, the two things that kind of coincided that same era was Rhoads and then Hoiberg. Mm-hmm. I think Hoiberg really brought Iowa State to, the national spotlight situation, and it's kind of carried over since then. But that was a high-end growth time for Iowa State athletics, but also it paired with the enrollment went crazy during that era as well. And I don't think it's coincidental that the fan base grew at that time. It was two-pronged. You had success, you had national recognition, but then also you just had a huge influx of students. And that will now have been, now y'all are all like in your 30s.
Part of me makes, I think about this, and it's funny because I'm like at this area of the book right now, and like I watched Rhodes's, I watched Campbell's
presser,
when he got the job the other day, and some of the stuff that like Pollard said during that, like you could tell what was interesting, because now if you talk to Jamie, he's like cool with Chizik, like they're friends. They spend time together, and it's kind of neat that they've been able to do that. At that time, it was not the case, and it was like he actually took a few slights at him that I didn't remember at all. But in all, to prove your point on what he was saying about Rhoads is like, you got to realize what Rhoads inherited: a bunch of these jaded guys who were told one thing and then the coach did another.
Yeah.
And Paul was kind of like the awesome uncle that brought them all together, and he did that with the fan base too.
He did.
Everybody got excited because this guy's passion about this place.
And the story was really good. The interesting part here with both Rhoads and Campbell, I think we lose sight of this. Campbell was 36 when he was hired at Iowa State.
Yeah.
You know, I think Rhoads was 41. So
Rhoads was 41 when he got hired.
That was it. Yeah.
God.
So I mean, that's the thing. Like,
I thought he was older than that.
I don't think he was. And then so you start thinking 36-year-olds, right? I mean, that's basically, I think Taylor Mauser, the offensive coordinator, is 34 now, right? So. I mean, I'm not calling Matt old, but it is kind of interesting looking back that how young he really was when Jamie gave him the keys to the car and how great of a decision that ended up being for the future of Iowa State.
All right, Aiden, bring us into these all-time Paul Rhoads videos. Which one are we starting with? This is the Mark Mangino.
It's a great shirt, man.
I've never been more shocked. Usually, I have an idea something is coming. From what I've been told, this news had just occurred like 10 minutes before Paul Rhoads walked out into this press conference and fired Mark Mangino.
In an effort to get us moving in a different direction. In the end, Mark was not interested in that. I wish that wasn't the case, but I respect and understand his conviction. I'd like to thank Mark for all that he's done for our football program and wish him well. Todd Sturdy will assume the role of offensive coordinator effective immediately. No, and again, the details with that, won't be discussed. But no, that Joel was not the case that this has come to a head. Well, there won't be drastic changes. I mean, you're not going to see us
kill it there, but just a shocking press conference. But this is the one where like the theatrical Paul Rhoads National Signing Day.
Yeah. This was something. I'll explain the backstory when this is done.
2014. So this is over 10 years ago. Go ahead.
Let me talk about Alan Lazard a little bit before I get to the rest of the class. Mature, high character, integrity, accountable, trustworthy. True to his word of 14 months, Alan Lazard sent in his official national letter of intent today. He's not going to a school in northern Indiana. Boy, they wasted a lot of time and money. He's not going to another school in this state, who feverishly tried to call him about a half a dozen times in the last week. Much to the dismay of people in this room who wasted a lot of space and time challenging his words of commitment, he's going right here to Iowa State University. And true to his word, okay, he will become the second top-rated player in the state, 2 years in a row, to become a Cyclone. And I'm very thrilled with Alan Lazard joining this program. As a bonus to Alan, I'm going to keep him off limits to the media for his freshman year. I think he's earned that after what he's been through the last 14 months.
To remind you.
Epic.
And now, that would be not for the player, because then
Well, that
you
would
get
be
the NIL.
bad,
You get
'cause
no
it's like-
NIL, yeah.
Yeah.
No, so that was it our friends at WHO who had
Yeah, it was John Sears did the like, it was a spoof.
They said it was a spoof, but
it was, but it
know,
like, didn't
I
come
know.
across
It didn't
to
call-
like people at Iowa State that way.
Correct, and that's where that whole thing. No, Paul Rhoads, an electric factory in press conferences. Like I listen, Matt. I don't know Matt Campbell doesn't listen to this. Matt could take a couple things from Paul Rhoads' press
I
conferences.
bet Matt's listening. He doesn't want to admit it.
He's good. He's flipping me the bird right now. That's fine.
Oh, yeah. So there you go.
I looked it up. Paul was 41 when he was hired.
Wow.
He was our age.
It seems
Steve.
crazy.
We're just young chickens. Or now we're old.
Okay. Pike Psi 10. What is one infrastructure update you would like to see made to Hilton or Jack Trice Stadium that would elevate the game day experience for the players, the fans, and the media?
You want to go first?
I don't know about the players, but I would say anything for the fans to keep concession lines as short as possible.
Yeah,
I hear that all the time from my wife, is how long it takes to get a pop for the kids.
I would say in general, and again, this is not a disrespectful to anybody who I know is working hard and a lot of times understaffed, the entire concession experience at Iowa State athletic events, I think, could be better. That's from design, lines, quality of options, all of those things. And part of it, honestly, so I went to a lot of road games this year, and there are some elite level concession areas at some places that I went to, but a lot of those didn't have 61,500 people, right? They had closer to 25,000 people, 30,000 people, and that's a big difference when you're trying.
And they serve alcohol too.
Yeah, and that's part of it.
Yeah,
this isn't a beer. This is not a.
Yeah, I know, but I'm guessing you were knowing you.
I had a beer too, but no, it's part of it. But it's not. It's literally like even at Hilton, C-Dub, it's like sometimes the fountain pop machine doesn't work the best, or they run out of items, and it's like I understand that those things cost investment too, and so I like listen. I totally understand. Like, where do you want your investment going for? To make sure the popcorn tastes better, or do you want to keep your players and your coaches? Like, okay, like we all understand that. But I do think there could be some more, just like they did a great job, in my opinion, in the last 18 months of improving the on-field game day experience from a lot of the fireworks, histrionics, all those things. I do think a more variety in the food, beverage, line situation in the concourse could help. But a lot of it, again, you're a victim of how many people now come to the games that you didn't have before. Iowa State's, from what I understand, Iowa State's infrastructure is built as far as concessions and restrooms for like the stadium the size it was 15 years ago. And so you're literally added 18, 20% more people, and you're just going to run into more issues that way. So I don't know how you solve it, especially when you're cash strapped to begin with, but that's how I would answer that question.
Yeah. As far as the players go, like, to me, it all goes back to the fans. Like, if the fans are there, the players are happy.
I don't, honestly, player experience-wise, it could not be better right now than what they get. I mean, yeah, the Suka basketball facility, some basketball complexes around the nation have a few more bells and whistles, but in reality, that football building and that nutritional area and that study area Iowa State has now, it's the Stark Performance Center. Oh my gosh. Like 10 out of 10 up there. I wish all fans could kind of see what goes on in there. Huge advantage for Iowa State. It's interesting, though. That was built and finished in 19, I think. What happens now? Or maybe it was even 21. My years are running together. But do you have that type of investment now? I doubt it. But now that you have it, it can be an advantage because nobody else, in the short term at least, is going to be building projects that size.
And as far as the media goes, I don't really know if it matters. I don't think most fans care. The only thing I would say is that don't cut our access because that only hurts your fans.
I agree.
That would be, and Iowa State is just like everybody else. Like fewer and fewer of these athletic departments think they need media anymore. But Iowa State is really good to work with. I really don't have any complaints. I would my only thing would be like, your fans want to hear from your players and coaches.
I read a story, Rob had a great story today about Carson Hansen. And I work with Carson. I didn't know some of the things that Rob
is
found
so
out about
good.
Carson. He's just
like,
so
Rob
good.
is just so good at what he does.
It makes the fan experience so much better when you can understand some of the backstories. And quite honestly, as more money gets gets infused into college athletics, we need more human interest stuff so you all understand the impact that you're making on these individuals who are now getting paid, but also their entire situations. And that's one of the cooler things that I've been able to see on behind the scenes. I'll just give you an example. Hopefully gets drafted here in the next couple of weeks, but Malik Verdon, one of the first people in his family to open up a Roth IRA account thanks to NIL support. Like things like that are really cool that I wish more fans knew that's a fun byproduct of this whole era as well.
Stater CR guy. Assume that means Cedar Rapids. Why can't Iowa State athletics get over the metaphorical hill? This is the greatest time in Iowa State athletics history, but we can't seem to finish the deal when it matters. My question would be like, what exactly does that mean? Are you talking about like win a national championship?
If Iowa State beats Arizona State,
is that the metaphorical hill?
Probably. That's probably the hill.
I would think.
I mean, that would be kind of one of the last. I hope. Well, again, I want to win a national championship as well. I hope people don't think that's the hill to climb.
Yeah, but that's why pose the question because I think it's different for everybody.
Yeah, it is.
Like, I wouldn't say that they can't. Like, you got to just keep putting yourself in the position, and eventually you're going to. I mean, it's kind of like your sport, golf.
It's an odds game.
Like, if you put yourself in the contention on day 4 of a major enough times, you're eventually going to do it. And
even if you try and choke it like Rory, you'll still run into it eventually.
Right?
It's a good
and
point.
you got good teams, good coaches, good players, dedicated fans. Like, it's funny because like I read that as like that you're going to tournaments every year in basketball. You're contending for championships in football.
You won more games between men's, women's basketball, and football than any other team in the Big 12 this year.
Like, fans always want more. I understand that, and they will forever. But I think he is right that, or I assuming it's a male.
Yeah.
That this is the best time ever.
Well, and it's in some ways it's good that people are disappointed with with only getting to the championship game and only getting to the round of 32. There's an interesting podcast, and I need to go back and listen. We did one of the summer series. Remember one of the early summer series back in I want to say it's like 13 or 14. We said what should the expectations be for Iowa State's main sports, and if you go back and listen to that, it was like a 10-year projection, and Iowa State blew away every single one of those expectations, just completely shattered all of them. It was like, go to a bowl game 3 out of 5 years. It was make the NCAA tournament like 4 out of every 6 years. It's like maybe make a Sweet 16 every once in a while. Iowa State has done that in spades, and yet, which is good, there is some sense of the fan base that Iowa State still has not been over that hump, over that hill. And I think it's an interesting dichotomy because you've got the expectations of what it was 15 years ago to what it has morphed into and what is success going forward. 2 different conversations. But the other part of this that is obviously on everyone's mind is the rest of the schools in the Big 12, at least the old guard, almost all of them have been to a Final Four. And I think that card and or winning a Big 12 championship in football would signify for a lot of people that Iowa State has quote unquote made it.
I agree with the basketball thing more. The regular season Big 12 title just doesn't mean a lot to me anymore. I mean, I'd love to get it. Don't get me wrong.
For basketball?
Yeah. But I agree with you that what you do in the NCAA tournament is ultimately what you were judged on, which is probably, I don't know if it's fair because it's such a random tournament. But that seems to be how fans remember things.
I mean, if you it's still crazy. Iowa State has played in the Big 12 football championship 2 times in the last 4 years. Now they lost them both, and yet, I mean, some would call last year disappointment, which again is good. But that's Iowa State is at a place that you go back and listen to that podcast from the summer series 12 years ago. We would have never anticipated. And by the way, the conference got bigger in that time frame too. So you're dealing with 6 more schools. And I know no Texas or Oklahoma. I understand that, although they were around in 2020. But yeah, very interesting question. I think it's a good reflection point for everybody. And it also depends on your age. I have noticed a lot, which is again healthy. The under 30 generation doesn't give a crap about what happened under Dan McCarney and how hard it was. They just don't. They don't remember it. Same reason when I was growing up, I don't remember who the heck Earl Bruce was or Johnny Majors was.
Yeah.
And people talked about those teams like they were great. I'm like, what does it matter now? It was 20 years ago. And so I understand it, but it's also interesting how perspective changes.
Last one I have for us here, and then we got to roll. SciFan 10. Which underclassman do you think has the most potential or opportunity to make an impact on the offense and defensive side of the ball coming up this football season? I will need to pull up my old roster here.
Let me do a little. Underclassmen? We're talking freshmen and sophomores.
Underclassmen. So I would say, and let's do a little editing here. Let's say like a newcomer type, right? Like not necessarily new to the roster, but not a guy. Don't give us one who was hot last year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like I could give you Xavier Townsend, and
yeah, we all know
that though.
Yeah. I mean, Cale Brazina wouldn't be one that I would throw out there because we've all
established.
Yeah, we've all seen him play quite a bit.
Oh man, this is a really good question. All right, I'll play along. I think a guy that's really going to pop this year and have a monster year is Marcus Neal, safety.
Rob Great has featured him as well.
Yep. I think, man, he has been great. And I'll give a guy that I think is going to have a really nice career at Iowa State, under the radar. Nobody is really talking about him, but he's been great in spring camp again. And it's a really neat story. Aiden Flora, the kid from ADM. He is, as somebody told me this week, he's probably, if not the fastest guy on the team, in the top 3. And you don't think about it because, honestly, he's from Adel, Iowa, and he was a walk-on. But he is going to play and get a lot of snaps at that running back slot position. And, again, a guy that the coaches, and he's going to be a redshirt freshman, maybe a sophomore. Super pumped up about Aiden and his long-term potential.
Guy I liked at the end of last year that was playing a lot is Trevor Bohr.
Yes.
On the offensive line. I don't know if that would fit the criteria, but he, like, you looked at his snaps and he was playing more and more.
Good one.
Feels like that's a guy that could be
one more
take a big
name.
step up.
And again, I always get careful with this stuff because there's the
problem when we do this.
I know it's
it's a lose for us.
It is,
because then if they don't, you guys are like, oh, you hyped them up, and then I paid for my tickets because of you guys. Like, no,
I'll throw my guy J-Mo Patton in there, and I know he's probably technically a redshirt sophomore, so maybe not underclassman, but he is primed to really step into that Verdon role.
Oh, I have another
really
one.
Good.
Surges. We didn't see him last year.
Yeah, he was mostly hurt. And then Dom Overby at a receiver.
Yeah.
As well.
What about Cooper Alexander? Are we going to get...
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing. Like, Iowa State's numbers are really good. I mean, there's a lot of guys that's like, well, it could be that guy.
Tayshaun James,
another one. Yeah.
Think about the guys who had to play last year because of injuries that shouldn't have, and hopefully they take a step.
Quentin Taylor's really coming on, by the way. Yeah, David Coffey's another D-back that's going to play. Trey Bell's been good. Like, all these, again, this is why you start recruiting. You stat classes, and Iowa State's been pretty good from an attrition standpoint in football. This is where it manifests, is when you have some of these second, third-year guys that finally start to pop.
Well, that's good stuff, man. We appreciate we need to do more of these. I think these mailbag episodes, people really seem to like them, and it also gets us outside of our bubble.
For sure. And then I'll give you one more name, because I think everyone still doesn't quite realize how good he could be, and that's Abu Sama. Monster offseason, physically.
I heard he had some, reacher outers.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Certainly did. So others noticed the talent as well.
I love Abu Sama.
I think obviously he was dinged up for a good portion of last year, and but I'm ready for healthy Abu.
I felt like Abu. It's never been an athleticism, speed.
Nope.
It was always a hit the right hole, follow the block, read the defense, and I think last year will be very beneficial for his learning curve.
And stay healthy too. He had a couple nagging things that you're going to deal with as a running back, by the way. So you're never going to be perfectly healthy, but you nailed it. I think from a pure physical standpoint, he's got all the talent in the world. Now, how do you put that on the field? But they do plan on similar usage, because we're going to bring it's probably going to be a hot topic. The Hansen-Sama duo is real. They're both going to, it's going to be a position by committee.
We are professionalizing the sport across the board.
We are.
And
it's the same thing.
Two running backs is happening everywhere.
Yeah. So again, we will not have a David Montgomery Breece Hall this year, which is great. Those two guys are very capable. Both are very quality backs, and I think both will have good years.
And we're interested to see if Dylan Lee can pop if there are injuries.
Yeah, and I would. Okay, just real talk here. I'm going to put Flora potentially above him right now.
Oh, wow.
Not a shot at David. That's how good Flora's been. Or Dylan, excuse me.
Great.
Yep.
Aiden Wyatt producing. He is Brent Blum. We are presented, as always, by our friends at Mechdyne. We'll be back on Sunday night. We won't be as down next Sunday.
Hey, portal I'm going to be stressed out till the portal closes.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's hope for that.
I won't be. Bloom might be. Appreciate all you guys watching on YouTube, listening on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network. Back on Sunday. Have a great weekend.